Hello, Julie here and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I have a little freebie to share with you. I created this freebie for Junk Journal Fix with Sunflowers and Doors Facebook page. You'll be able to get it over there or you can get it in my Ko-fi shop. There'll be links to both in the description box. So it's 3 pages of background papers and 2 pages of fussy cuts. So we've got a, well, you can see what we've got there. And then we have this one. So I've tried to put muted pictures, florals in the background so that we've got a page that we can put in our journal. We could embellish over the top of that. We could write over the top of that. We could do whatever we like with it. I have got 2 sheets of florals to fussy cut here. That one and this one. That one's upside down. There we go. So lots of fun there. Lots of fussy cutting. So that's my little freebie for today. Now I'm going to make something using this. Okay, so I want to make a shaker page. Now, I don't know if I've made one of these before, and if I have, it was a long time ago. Look at that, that isn't actually printed that far down. Okay, so now I need to cut a rectangle out of this, so, and I want to make sure that they're in the same place on the front and the back. So I'm folding my page in half, and I need to make sure that I've got them both up the right way. So that's up the right way, and that's up the right way, I think. Or is that the right way? No, that way. So I've got them both facing up. Both up the right way. Now I'm going to fold them in halves together. I'm going to try and make sure that I've got them perfectly lined up, which is no mean feat. That little bit of white there is putting me off, so I'm going to turn it over this way. And fold it over. And try and make sure that I get it perfectly. If I don't, well then I will just have to trim. And there's not much I can do without that. How does that look? That one. Right. That's going to be close enough, so let's line that up. Line it up. That there. That there. And press down. Okay, now I'm going to take a rectangular die and cut a hole in here. Now I've got this die, and this has got like a stitched edge around it. It comes in those sizes, and I'm thinking that one's a bit too big. So I might go for the next size down, which is that size, and I might pop it up there. Okay, so I'm going to take this now and run this through my Big Shot, and I'm going to try and position it sort of centrally this way. Got some mint tape here. I'll stick that in place just to hold it temporarily. Okay, you can see I haven't got it lined up properly there. I'm definitely going to have to trim this when I have finished, but I'm only going to be trimming off the excess that doesn't fit there. Anyway, I'm going to run this through my die cutting machine and I'll be back. Now remember that I've got both right side's pointing up. Okay, so I'll run that through my good shot and I'm going to take that off. Okay. I can reuse that. So I've got 2 pieces of the, or 4 pieces actually, anyway. Okay, so now, remember I had my 2 right sides facing up. I'm going to open them out now, and I'm going to replace or turn them back to back now, and my windows should line up perfectly, which they do. Alright, so now I need to have some acetate in my windows. Uh-oh. Seems to be slightly out, but I'm going to ink around the windows. Do this before I add the acetate, because once the acetate's in there, we won't be able to ink. Now you could use acetate or vellum, whichever you prefer. I don't know what I'm going to use yet. I was thinking acetate, but maybe I will do vellum. Alright, I'll ink around this and decide whether I'm going to use acetate or vellum, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I've whittled it down to these two, either a clear transparency or this vellum that's got like a speckle in it. Now, I like the idea of the transparency because when I put something on it, it gives that floating feel. But I like this because when I put something on the back, like with the clear, you'll see the back exactly as it is. So I need to match up whatever goes on the back pretty perfectly, and I don't know that I can do that. With this one, I've got a little bit more hiding space, I guess you'd say, with whatever I put on the other sides. It doesn't have to match up so perfectly. So I'm torn between which one to do. I like this, but I know that that's going to be really hard to pull off with putting something on the back. So with that in mind, I'm going to use the fussy cuts from the sheet, these to go on the back, and I know that I haven't got a mirror image of anything on there. You can print these two to a page too if you want to get a smaller view. On the pages I have put a couple of different sizes of the same image, but to get even more sizing you can print 2 to a page or whatever. So that's not helping decide what to put on here. You know what, I think I'm going to go for the clear and just do the best I can. I mean, even if I do that one, I'll still see the back of it that doesn't line up. So, although, yeah. Alright, well, why don't I do one of each? I could do that, couldn't I? Let's do that. Because they're not going to be seen at the same time. They're going to be folded around. This will be stitched into your signature here, and they'll be different pages. I'll do one of each, and then I'll know which one I liked. I did audition a few other things. I had this transparency, but the black was too heavy, I thought. I had this one, and the gold was fine, but it was a lot of it. It looked like, you know, a solid, there, like that. Looks a bit solid for my liking. The idea of having the hole there is that you can see through it, the plain. And then I had just a plain piece of vellum without the speckles, which looks fine too. And I had this pearly sort of vellum, which I decided not to go with. So there was heaps and heaps to choose from, but yeah, well, enough's enough. Alright, so I'm going to do one of each and see how that goes. So what size? Let me just have a look at this again. Oh, I'm just going to cut it with my trimmer. So that hole is, well, if I cut the material 4 1/4 by 5 1/4, that will be good. Okay. So 4 1/4 by 5 1/4. Next one. Let's do the same here. 4 1/4 by 5 1/4. Okie dokie. Now we could use a, well, why don't I do that on one of them? I will. On this clear one, I'll do it double-sided and I'll put something in the middle. So let's do it. Cut another piece. By 5 1/4. Okay, so what we need to do then is open this out. Where did I put the other one? There. So I'm going to attach that on there. You'll notice that I have inked around the edge of this frame so that just in case, if I don't line it up perfectly, you're not going to be looking at a white edge. I'm pushing out from the frame so that the glue, any glue spread, does not go. That's going to go on there like that, so I need to do this side on this one. It doesn't go out onto the acetate. Okay, that's that one. Now we can do the same for this. Add that to this one. That on there. Right. Okay, so there we have our two windows. Now I'm going to put something in between these two. Let me get something for that. I've got some dried flowers here. Which will be perfect because it won't matter. What's that look like on the back? See, it looks fine either way, doesn't it? So let's see if we can find a little, something a little bit taller. I don't want it to be too bulky though, so it's too much. It's lost. There we go, I like that one in there. So we'll put that one in there. That will go there like that. And then that will look fine on both sides. Excellent. Okay, so now our next job is to stick these two together. This is always the tricky part. I'm not going to glue that. Actually, I've got some faux vintage tape here. I think I'm going to use some of that. I made this and there is a video. So if you're interested in seeing the video, I'll put a link in the description box. And now I'm just going to snip that and then tear. I'm going to pop that on there like that. That's not going to be any good, is it? I'm going to have to stick it like that. And then I'm going to do another piece on the other side. Tear that. Oops. And stick that on there. Like that. Then position that like that, and that will hold that in place while I do this. Just move that up there. I want to add glue to this. Now that's going to go on there like that, and that's going to fold back that way. So I might just pre-fold that. Now, I might just do this side first, actually. I I'm trying not to get too close to the edge of the acetate, or the opening should I say. I don't want this glue to be showing on the acetate on the outside when I put the two together. Now, pick this up and try my best to line this up. Like that. So you can see it's not perfectly straight, it's not perfectly lined up, but I will just trim that. That is one of the hardest things to do, I reckon, is line up two pieces of paper. Now I'm just going to lay that down and okay. Now I'm going to let that dry for a minute and then we'll see what's next. Okay, it's not completely dry yet, but it's dry enough. Now I'm going to fold this in halves. I can fold it either way. Well, it looks like it's going to fold that way, so we'll do it that way. Try and line it up. Fold it and score, burnish. Okay, so now for this one, I thought I would like to add just a little ticket on there. So let's do that. Now you could also add a pocket or something down here if you wanted to. I'm not going to. I'm going to leave mine as it is. And then this one's going to go on the back over the top of that so that we can't see the back of it. I have inked most of the back just in case something peeps through. I'm going to try and get that as close as possible. I've picked something that's basically the same size. So that's all I'm going to do for that one. I will trim this up and ink around it shortly. And for this one, I've chosen two of the fussy cuts and I've cut them out and inked around them. Oh, I was going to put some cheesecloth behind it to sort of disguise anything that might poke through. So just sort of through that area there, and pop that there. Like that. So let's stick that down. I'm not going to put separate glue on the cheesecloth, coffee dyed cheesecloth, because I'm going to rely on this holding it in place. Let's position that on there like so. Grab a tissue. Okay. Now let's turn it over, and I'm going to attach this piece, trying to cover up the back of the image that's on the front, so you can see how important it is to have something that is about the same size and be able to disguise the backs a bit when you're doing something that you can see through. If you've got an image that you can do a mirror image of, that is perfect. There we go. So it's basically covering up everything there. And what it's not covering is barely noticeable. Now, we could add a label or something to this as well if we wanted to. What do we think? Do we want to add something else? Just as a little bit of a something there. I will probably want something skinny and narrow. Something like that. Have a look in my other labels box. More labels here, so let's see if we can find anything in there. Got those. These are just stamped images on one of those red ones. Might be nice, mightn't it? Make it longish. Put that off about the same as that. Ink around it. Let's see what we think. Do we like it there or not? Or we could do a brownish one. I think I like the brown one better. Quite like that one. I guess that we could go on forever, couldn't we? We've got so many labels and things that we could go on forever. Okay, let's go with these two. Ink around them. And on this side. Right. Okay, so now I need to trim this down so I haven't got any white edges, and then ink around the edge. I mean, I could just ink around it and ink those white pieces, but I think I will trim it down. Let me make some space for my trimmer. Okay, so what have we got that needs trimming? Got a little fraction off of this edge. Now remember that this is going to go into the signature, so they don't have to be exactly the same. Okay, now I'm going to ink around the edge of that. Normally I print my papers onto 110 GSM cardstock, but because I was laying this on top of each other, I just printed it on normal printer paper. So it's a bit lighter weight than I'm used to working with. But with the two of them together, it adds up to 160 GSM, so when it's together it's fine. You could of course stitch as well if you wanted to. You could stitch around each of the windows and around your page. So there we go. That's our embellishment for today, our little freebie, and a use for our freebie. You can see one page is actually longer than the other, but once you put that into a signature, which I haven't got handy at the moment, you won't see that at all. So that's it. Okay, thank you for joining me. As I said, you could add pockets or whatever you like in here as well. I'm going to leave mine plain. People can write on there. Okay, thank you for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed this little project. I love see-through elements in my journals, and yeah, I hope you do too. Alright, see you in my next video, I hope. Bye.